2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday the 16th of December, and it's National Chocolate Covered Anything Day. And a big happy birthday to Quentin Blake, Zara Larsson, Christine Ritter and Anna Popplewell. Thursday saw thousands of nurses across England, Wales and Northern Ireland walk out as the largest strike action in NHS history began, leaving only essential services running across much of the country. It's the first time the Royal College of Nursing's ever called a nationwide strike, and comes after the government labelled their demand for a 19% pay rise unaffordable. RCN boss Pat Cullen says low pays led to chronic understaffing across the NHS and poor conditions for patients, with industrial action a necessary last resort.
It's a tragic day for the NHS. The NHS has been run down by this government and left in a crisis. What we're trying to do today is to actually save our NHS.
Staff nurse Mark Boothroyd's been picketing in central London and says the decision to strike was not easy.
It's a very difficult decision for nurses, but we feel we've been forced into it because the government has refused to negotiate and refused to listen to us.
Government ministers have refused to discuss pay increases in the run-up to the industrial action, claiming they're acting on the advice of the independent NHS Pay Review Board. But in a major plot twist, Health Minister Maria Caulfield admitted on Thursday they could have ignored the Pay Board's recommendations.
We could have ignored the Pay Review Body's recommendations and gone for a much lower pay rise. We didn't.
Higher.
We could go higher, but as I've said, we've got to find that money from somewhere.
Following the deaths of 4 migrants after a boat capsized in the English Channel on Wednesday, questions are being asked of the government's approach to the whole asylum process. Former Brexit Secretary David Davis says improvements need to be made to ensure asylum seekers can access safe and legal entry routes to the UK.
Right, one piece of it is proper, legitimate access, and we don't do that well enough. But bear in mind that what you don't want to do either is to create a completely open pipe that people just go down with no restriction.
Wednesday's incident comes shortly after PM Rishi Sunak announced a crackdown on illegal immigration, including tougher penalties for those who attempt to reach the UK by crossing the Channel. But Amnesty International Refugee and Migrant Director Steve Valdez-Simmons says a tougher approach won't prevent small boats crossing, and it's likely to lead to more deaths.
People are in a situation of needing to make a journey to seek asylum in this country, and they take these journeys because that is all there is. If we continue like this, we'll just see more people taking these risks and, sadly, more deaths.
Ukrainian officials say 2 people were killed in central Kherson on Thursday following more Russian shelling of the city they withdrew from. It's left much of the region without power. It comes as Defence Secretary Ben Wallace reaffirmed the UK's support for Ukraine and says he doesn't fear Russian aggression.
So I feel safe because I'm one of 30 in one of the biggest, most successful military alliances in the world. And so, Russia could be angry all it likes, but I've got friends. They haven't.
Meanwhile, human rights law firm Global Rights Compliance have launched the first sexual violence mobile justice team in Ukraine, who'll assist authorities investigating reports of assaults and offences committed by Russian soldiers. Wayne Jordash is a co-founder of the organisation and explains why it's necessary to deploy the team.
I think it's quite clear that the Russian method of warfare is to attack civilians, and part of those attacks involve widespread sexual violence.
Former US President Donald Trump's been teasing a major announcement.
Hello, everyone. This is Donald Trump. Hopefully your favorite president of all time, better than Lincoln, better than Washington.
The Trump universe was frantic with speculation about a dramatic announcement, but it turns out he's just opening another online shop selling NFT trading cards with some spectacularly bad Photoshop work. It comes as the January the 6th committee prepare to release their final report next week, focusing on Trump's role in the insurrection. They'll also make criminal referrals to the Department of Justice, which could target the former president. And Republican Adam Kinzinger, who's on the committee, says he believes Trump really has committed a crime.
I think he's guilty of a crime. He knew what he did. We've made that clear. He knew what was happening prior to January 6th. He pressured the Justice Department officials to say, hey, just say the election was stolen and leave the rest to me.
Still to come on the Smart 7, Boris Beck has been freed and Michael McIntyre's crowned a Viking king. Right after this. Welcome back.
Three-time Wimbledon champion Boris Becker was released from a UK prison on Thursday and deported to his native Germany after serving 8 months of a 2.5-year sentence for fraud charges. The former world number one was jailed in April after being found guilty of hiding more than £2 million in assets when bankrupt. And it's looking like he won't be leaving the spotlight anytime soon after Apple TV confirmed the release of a 2-part docuseries covering his downfall. In a trailer for the documentary, a tearful Becker talks ahead of his sentencing.
I've hit my bottom. I don't know what to make of it. I face it, I'm not going to hide or run away or, accept whatever sentence I get. It's Wednesday afternoon, Friday I know the rest of my life.
He's a 6-time BAFTA winner and was once the highest-grossing stand-up comedian in the world. But Michael McIntyre's got a new title now, the King of Comedy in Norway. While appearing on James Corden earlier this week to promote the US debut of the game show The Wheel, he discussed his Nordic success and brought up a funny anecdote about his first trip to his Scandinavian kingdom.
Yeah, the first place I went was Bergen. Huge excitement, because apparently it's the place that rains more than anywhere else in Europe. But I got there and it wasn't raining. There was no rain. But I got into the taxi and, when the windscreen wipers are on and they make that noise, that... Yeah. And I said to the driver, I said, excuse me, it's not raining. And he just went, it will.
Scrub star Zach Braff's releasing his first film in 5 years, and it's a far cry from the bizarre world of Sacred Heart Hospital. Starring Morgan Freeman and Florence Pugh, A Good Person explores the relationship between a woman who survives a fatal car accident and her would-have-been father-in-law. It's set to be released in cinemas next March, and you might want to get some tissues ready because it looks like it's going to be a real heart-wrencher, with a little bit of humour thrown in for good measure.
Lately, so much of my life has been out of control. I just caught my granddaughter having sex with a boy who looked like a man.
Hey, Belinda, I found this fool in bed with my Ryan. She said she was 18 online.
You're a boy. He's a boy. That's what the kids call them. Get out of our neighborhood, boy.
Okay.
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day.
Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.